Today I'd like to talk a bit more about eating disorders. In a recent video I talked about how there was quite a strong link between eating disorders and anxiety disorders, and how eating disorders along with anxiety issues have been very much on the rise in recent years. So the title of this video is an eating disorder an illness? And some of you might think, well, obviously it is. These are classed as mental illnesses, and therefore they are medical issues, I guess. Now, I tend to see things a bit differently. Now, I'm not saying that eating disorders can't make you ill, and that's especially true of anorexia, but it's also true of bulimia and binge eating disorder. So these conditions can certainly make people ill, but my point is, if a sufferer sees themselves as suffering from an illness, it's quite a powerless position to potentially be in, and doesn't offer that much hope for them. It's almost as if then they're ill, so it's up to somebody to cure them of this illness that has been visited on them. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm very sympathetic to eating disorder sufferers, not in a patronising way, but I do feel for them, and having seen very many over the years, I know what utter misery they're experiencing. But my view is that it would be better not to see the eating disorder as an illness, to simply see it as a set of behaviours that the person has got into the habit of participating in over time. It's become a strong habit, and although it doesn't make sense, it's a habit, and habits can change. For most of us, we've all, I pretty much guess, have some not so good habits. And at some point in our life we didn't engage in those behaviours, but then at some point we did, and maybe it's become a habit over time. And many of us will have had habits that we have changed. Thumb sucking, some of our childhood behaviours we've changed, we've grown out of. So my view is it's more helpful to view these conditions as habits. Habits can change, they do change, we've all had experience of that. And that can offer more hope often for people. The other thing with eating disorder sufferers, particularly bulimics and binge eaters, is there's a terrific amount of shame and self-blame and loathing around it. Partly because they as part of their condition, they will have been very secretive. They will have told lies. They will have hidden things. They will have done all sorts of things that morally they would see as reprehensible, and they can be very down on themselves, and that only just feeds into the cycle of feeling awful and then engaging in those behaviours. So one thing that I like to get clear with people is there's no blame involved. We've all done silly things, we've all had bad habits. When you're in the grip of these things, you're making decisions not in a rational way. It's not your logical mind, it's not your moral mind that's engaged in this. It's more of that's driving this, is more subconsciously driven. And so you can you don't have to blame yourself. It doesn't help to beat yourself up. It's better to look forward and to simply, when I work with people, it's about clearing up the messed up connections in their mind, clearing the decks in a way for new behaviours to replace the old ones, and very quickly rewiring things in the mind, so that those behaviours no longer make any sense whatsoever. And that can be done very quickly using the right techniques. Then the person can get on with their lives and leave it in the past, just like we've left, most of us have left our teddy bears and thumb sucking in the past. The person can move on. Funnily enough, I was working with somebody the other day, And this lady had had issues with eating since she was 15 or so. And she was in her 50s now. And we worked together for just a few sessions actually. And she changed. And she said to me, something's just shifted. And I said, well, you know, can you put your finger on it? You know, what is it that's different? And she reflected for a few moments and she said, do you know what? I've grown up. She said, yeah, I've grown up. And that was what it meant to her. So she'd kind of grown out of the problem. And in fact, she decided to take care of herself and nurture herself in other ways, which is really what she'd been trying to do in a way that would never work and just didn't make sense. Anyway, so that's a little bit about eating disorders. I don't view them as illnesses. They certainly can make you ill. I could list all the complications and the health issues that can come about as a result of things like bulimia, but I won't here. No doubt they can make you ill, but better not to view them as illnesses, better to view them as habits. We've all had bad habits. We've all outgrown habits in our lives. So can the eating disorder sufferer, given the right therapy at the right time. Anyway, that's all for now. Patrick Molloy, Natural Psychology. If any of this interests you or you'd like to have a chat with me about how I might be able to help, by all means reach out and I'd be happy to have a chat. Oh, please share and like as well if you think this could be of benefit to anyone you know or anybody out there, and it will just help to get the word out. There's a lot of people looking for help with these sorts of issues at the moment, and many don't know where to turn. You never know, I might just be the person to help them. Bye for now.